In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at the tropics, which, as you can see, for like the fourth or fifth day in a row, we have nothing here yet. We are approaching the kind of mid-August point. We're going to see how this progresses over the coming weeks, but we do expect obviously way more activity than this. We're going to be breaking down the upcoming storminess, which there is a lot of, by the way, of course, and then we are going to be taking a look at those temperature patterns as well. Before we dive into all of that, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description and pinned comment down below, where we have so much available to you guys for just $5 a month. This does include early access to our monthly and seasonal forecasts, as well as weekly consulting calls and so much more. So be sure to check it out today, again, in the pinned comment and description down below. We're going to move right past the tropics like we've been doing because, again, nothing expected. We do expect more activity on the way soon, though. By the time we reach later this kind of evening, we'll do it kind of Tuesday, August 8th here. We can see some sporadic storminess happening around a lot of the nation here. I would say this swath here is where we're expecting most of that isolated to scattered activity. It's mostly, as you take a look here further northeast, where we have this 997 millibar low pressure center, where we're seeing a lot more persistent thunderstorm activity in this pocket here. By the time we reach Wednesday, August 9th here, we could see a lot of thunderstorm activity diving southward here into a lot of the plains, into some of the deeper south as well, and then some of this happening as well here for the upper Midwest and northern plains also. It's this pocket here that I'm watching the closest for some severe weather activity, alongside heavier rainfall and just in general heavier thunderstorms than most other areas we're seeing here. As we continue this forward for Thursday the 10th here, we can see a 998 millibar low pressure center developing there over eastern Canada. We see a secondary low down here for areas in the mid-Atlantic, so there is kind of a link, if you will, between these two. They are associated. We do see a 999 over here in, I think, Alberta, and this looks to be potentially our next storm system moving through. We see another 999 here, so we continue to see more and more storms than what's typical for this time of year. I want to take us all the way towards Friday, August 11th here, and as you can see, there's a lot of thunderstorms moving across the southwest into the southeast. We see a lot happening here in the upper Midwest and southern Canada, as well as far as thunderstorm activity. And then we still have this 995 here over eastern Canada and Maine. It's kind of in between the two. And these all are kind of causing some thunderstorms to flare up, all of these potential storms. And I would say the most normal area of storminess we're seeing is this pocket here, where we always kind of say this time of year, these areas expect to see thunderstorms almost daily, if not literally daily. If you've been down to Florida and surrounding states, you know that to be the case. It's always hot, humid, sunny, and then evening thunderstorms roll through. Very, very tropical in nature. Saturday, August 12th here, we see 1,005, 1,003. So we have this low pressure in this area, which is just kind of causing some storminess for the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, in the northeast here, as well as eastern Canada. That is the primary impacts we're seeing. Again, scattered and isolated thunderstorms happening here across the southeast. As we keep going with this towards Sunday, August 13th, we can see 1,005 here, 1,005 there, so there's plenty of those to go around, obviously, at this point. A lot of this storminess probably is associated with this particular low. We do see a lot of storms flaring up from this one as well. So those are the two main storm systems moving across by that point. By the time we reach Monday, August 14th into Sunday, August 15th, we do see a 998 millibar low pressure center near Lake Erie. And this is causing pretty much all this thunderstorm activity around here, because that is a very strong low. Probably have a little bit of a cold front dynamic happening somewhere underneath. And this overall is causing a lot of thunderstorms for these areas. And it's very, very widespread as well, might I add. For this pocket here, we could see an area of isolated to scattered thunderstorms, so it's very, very hit or miss, but we do see for the kind of early portion of next week, about a week from today actually, we are beginning to see a lot of activity from this. For later on the day, Tuesday the 15th, literally a week from today, we see this low has somewhat weakened to a 997, but that is still relatively strong. There for eastern Canada, we can see a 998 here for central Canada. So Canada is taking the highlight here with these double kind of sister storms happening there. Let's move this towards Wednesday the 16th, and we get a very amplified look here. 997, clearly a cold front happening here, and we can see a lot of Arctic air diving in. And what I mean by Arctic air is not frigid temperatures, it's just air coming from those Arctic regions that is surging in. We see this strong push of warmth in this PNA pattern, positive PNA pattern, surging up the west coast there of North America, and this is causing somewhat of an equilibrium effect to happen where we're seeing that surging of warm air there, forcing this cold air around, and then it's forced back down south here through the central states. That is exactly what we're taking a look at here. Meanwhile, likely with this cold front developing here, also a warm front kind of on the eastern end, we're probably seeing some warm air pushing up the east there equally as well. So very, very interesting dynamics at play there for Wednesday the 16th. And then for Thursday the 17th here, we see a massive ridge for the west, and then something like this with the jet stream. So again, very cool air diving in because of this kind of bump in the jet stream here. It's forcing all this air to kind of move around. We do see this surging of warm, stormy air up the east coast. Very typical in this type of a situation that jet stream is pulling everything up the coast. So it's all moving kind of parallel with that coast, but onshore. That is likely the pattern that we find ourselves in. Now, the total precipitation here, no surprise, still for about a week in a row, we've seen something along these lines, but we still expect above average activity overall to be likely for all of these areas in eastern Canada and the eastern half of the United States here. Very, very active overall. Anywhere in the whites dealing with practically no precipitation. Your grays 1/10 of an inch or less. Greens are 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Blues 1/2 an inch to an inch, your yellows 1 inch to 2 inches, reds 2 to 5 inches there, and then your browns 5 to 10 inches, which we actually see a lot of that there for Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and eastern Canada. Certainly far above what is normal for this time of year. Keep that in mind. As we move into the temperature pattern, I kind of want to just dive into what we expect. We do see cooler air overall prevailing for a lot of the time here. And then around the 12th, we see this surge of warmth kind of return things to warmer conditions here for the central and eastern states once more. We see something like this taking place. Not a lot of cool air to go around by this point. We get that next kind of push of cold air. And this is a very, very good visual for kind of explaining what that positive PNA pattern looks like. And then we see this cold air sliding down as a result of that warm air to the west. This is exactly what you end up seeing. But again, just like we talked about a minute ago, we still see some warm air pushing up the east coast as well in a much smaller fashion. And we stick with a pattern kind of similar to that. I would say we're looking at something like this at this point. So it's a little bit of that horseshoe pattern that over the years I've alluded to. But we see these warm air masses still trying to make an impact there in the east. Certainly a very strong one in the west. And we do see bits of cold moving down into the north central and northwestern states. But at this point, this is not very dramatic, so we might see this become a lot less of a factor by late August. And this is something we will be watching every single day for you guys. Speaking of every single day, we do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe for daily uploads just like this one. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.